today. Why collaborations fail before they even start. We're going to have a look at that, why that is. We'll come back to one word that we're going to discuss in a minute, and we're going to, of course, give the solution, not just the problem. Before we get into that, if you decide at the end of this video, like what Benny's talking about, I want to talk to him about a collaboration. Fifo experiment.live. A little hint there. There's a whole process on Fifo experiment.live that you will go through when you see the step that says, actually, you've got to go to the bottom of it. So I want to collaborate, click on that and take you out to the correct page. If you go through that process, you might have picked up what I'm putting down here. So the problem is for people when they say that they want to collaborate. There was a classic of this example of this on LinkedIn the other day. Someone sent me a LinkedIn connection and said, hey, Adam, looks like we've got a lot in common. Would love to chat and collaborate. Send them back a message. Yep, no worries. This is my process for collaboration. Go away and have a look at that. Haven't heard back from them since. Actually, I threw it back to them. I didn't send them through my process, sorry. Threw it back to them. Said, yep, happy to catch up and talk. Nothing for days, obviously, because they don't have a process to actually work out how to collaborate. He's probably actually surprised that someone actually bothered to reply to him on LinkedIn. There's a great Edwards Deming quote about process. And if you haven't picked up on it so far, the reason that collaboration falls over comes back to one word that I said earlier, which is process. But you have to understand a couple things about process. You have to understand what's so important and what it actually is. So most people will tell you that they know what a process is when they don't have a really good understanding of it. And this quote by Edwards Deming points it out. He says, if you can't explain what you're doing as a process, then you don't actually understand what you're doing. And this is why it takes people so long to get through and do these sorts of things. If most people try to go and set a collaboration up, they probably go to networking events for months, try and do LinkedIn connections, send people requests backwards and forwards and all the rest of it. It's a very simple, quick, easy process for me. All I've got to do is say to someone is go over to this page, have a read through that, which I'm going to take you through and show it so you can go and R&D it, rip off and duplicate it. And if that sounds like something that you want to collaborate on, then start talking to me asynchronously. That's a big word for a ball of market, that one. All right, so the solution obviously is to have a process in place, and I'll step you through. I'll show you how effective a process is. This goes right back to when I was on the tools. Okay, so a mate of mine, we used to do work for a plant that his father managed, he was out in Bow Desert, out of the workshop was out there, and the plant was in a hammock in Brisbane. Okay, so one day this old AJ rings up one day and said, "There's a crack in this particular bucket off of a machine." So they've parked it out the back, told us where this bucket actually was. Need you to grind the crack, gouge the crack out, weld it back up, sort it out for us. Yep, no worries. So Harko comes out to me and says, "Benny, grab the truck, go down and fix this crack up." So I've jumped in the truck, gone down to the site. The bucket's exactly where AJ said it was going to be. Jumped out, got the oxy set, got the welder set up, set the oxy set up, set the welder machine up, back gouge the crack, ground it up, welded it up, cleaned it up with a grinder, put all the gear back away in the truck on the way home. I'm about halfway, I'm actually at Jimboomba, so I'm about 10-15 minutes down the road from being back home. And my mobile rings, so I pull up, and Hart goes, like, "Where are you?" So I'm nearly back at the shop. I'm thinking, bloody hell, I got through that pretty quick. What's he mean, where am I? And he goes, "What about welding crack up in the bucket?" So what are you talking about? He said, AJ said he hadn't seen you down there yet to weld the crack up in the bucket. I said, Harko, it's done. He said, what? He said, hang on a sec, I'll call him back. So he calls him back. He says to AJ, it's done. He said, can't possibly be done. So AJ's gone for a walk out the paddock, had a look at the bucket. Fuck me, he's already finished it. Goes back, tells Harko it's all done. Point of the story is, and this happens all the time, used to happen to me all the time in construction, it happens all the time with the work that I do now. I'll finish something before someone's even thought about how they're actually going to do it. Because I follow a process. It was drummed into me by my old man, right from an apprentice, and he went through lean with a RAF way back in the Vietnam War. You always have a process to what you're going to do. So I'm going to explain to you what a process actually is, give you the dictionary definition. Anyway, so the solution is if you want to collaborate with people, you've got to have a process. So let's take a look at what I've got here. People go across to this site and say to me, "Ben, you want to collaborate?" Yep, no worries. Head across here, isometricmarketing.co, see if I can bring that. /want to collaborate. Okay, so jump on there, and straight at the top of the page, it tells about the projects that I've currently got on. I won't play that video for you. No need for you to sit through that today. Go check that out if you want to. Then I've got at the top of it, why collaborations usually fail before they even start. Sound familiar? All right, people have great intentions, but they have no process to make collaborations work. Now, this quick video, you need to watch this because there's a quote at the start of it about process and intentions, and then it explains to you, gives you that dictionary definition of what a process actually is. So I'll play this right now. Write that bit down. Process saves us from the poverty of our intentions. So I've got all these best intentions, and you'll see this coming up with New Year's Eve soon. Oh, I've got this New Year's resolution for next year. Okay, when people say that to you, what's your New Year's resolution? Say to you, what's the process? Start asking them that question, and you'll very quickly find out whether their resolution's going to get any legs or not. That's Elizabeth King Sculptor. That's actually taken from the book just written by Seth Godin called The Practice. Let's get to the what a process actually is. So did you write that down as well? A process is a series of action or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end result. Drove down, got the oxy set out, got the welding machine out, set all the gear up, gouged it out, welded it, ground it, packed the gear away, gone. A set of steps or actions taken in sequence to produce an end result. This is why people don't get a collaboration. They've got no idea. They don't even know what a collaboration is or what it's going to look like. So how are they going to create a process to go from this is where we start, this is how we start talking about collaboration, to this is where we're actually collaborating. All right, so I'll show you how to do it right now. So here are the 10 who's that I currently need. If you haven't read the book by Dan Sullivan, Who Not How, you need to do that. That's part of the process for that you'll go through if you want to collaborate with me. So what I'm looking for is who is it that can actually do the hows, how as in work, better than I can, and all I need to do is interest them in my goal and form a collaboration with them. So I've got all my goals on this page. At the top of the page there, it says, want to collaborate on they're the goals. They're the projects in the top of the page there. And they're also down the list of it. So then I tell them actually who I want to collaborate with. So I want to collaborate with an app coder because I've got a project where we're building an app. A Canva/website design genius, a podcaster to co-host a show with, a podcast producer, a live video producer, a micro content video master, a startup CFO because I'm building a startup accountant, a startup lawyer, a real estate agency owner because I just did my real estate license last year, and a visionary looking for an integrator to working together to either be a co-founder or work together on their business. These are my projects for 2021. So I tell them these are the projects that I've actually got that we can collaborate on. The Fifo experiment, the Troublemaker book, the Side Hustle, which is my coaching program, the $1 Million brand that I'm working on, and the Unicorn app that I talked about earlier. Here's how it works. Goal, now there's a little quote there. The goal is not to do business with everyone. I've already got these quotes are in there for a very deliberate reason because I want to know how people think, and the way that they think is more important to me than how they think and what they want to do is more important to me than their particular skill set. I believe that for us to collaborate effectively, the following has to happen. These are the steps. Firstly, you must read or listen to the who, not how book so you can immediately start to implement it. Right? That's non-negotiable. They have to have done that first. You must live and breathe what I call a Mamba mentality, which is continuous improvement every day. You must be working on becoming, they're probably not working on becoming, but they will be when they go through this process, a exponential organization, which is one that's 10x better than your peers. So it's not going to, the average person that just wants to make an extra couple of sales or whatever, is going to go at this point. That sounds way too fucking hard for me. I don't want to know anything about that, which is fine. They don't want to do it. We're not going to waste time sitting down, going backwards and forwards to work out, hey, collaboration's not going to work here. You must be part of the Troublemaker Purple Circle because you'll never keep up otherwise. That's where I coach people through the process. The goal of that program is to claim back 1,000 hours in the next 12 months. So it's a paid investment to get in there. So they've got to spend money to get coaching off of me, but then I'll reinvest that money back into them to do those tasks that I'm talking about before, as long as they line up with one of those tasks. So I'm working on their project, helping them claim back 1,000 hours in the next 12 months. And then they turn around and I'm paying them to work on my project, to whichever project it is that they've got the skill set for and a project that they're actually interested in working in. So the goal of the troublemaker purpose, I already said that, is helping claim back 1,000 hours in the next 12 months. It's literally set up this way. This whole thing is literally set up to keep time wasters and dreamers away. So I know they're only dealing with people who believe what I believe in. They want to become an exponential organisation. They want to collaborate properly. They're actually happy to invest in it. Actually, it's one of Dan Sullivan's keys for collaboration to work is money has to be off the table. That's why I've set it up that way. So it's about if they spend money with me, I spend it straight back to them. So money's taken out of the equation. That's not you, it's fine, it's just not a good fit to collaborate together. Here's the exact quote actually. One of the things for collaboration is you have to have total cash confidence. In other words, you don't need the money. So I'm not looking for people that need to make sales next week to keep the doors open. That's not what I'm looking at. That's why I've gone back to the construction industry and work at Fifo for two reasons. One is to prove to people that say to me all the time, I don't have the time to do this. I show how to do it while I'm already working 80 hours a week. And the second one is to give me that total cash confidence is I have that regular cash flow coming in. So that's completely off the table as well. I don't need these people to be paying me $1,000 a month to be able for this to be able to work. It'll work regardless of whether they're paying me or not. If you're keen to collaborate, the next step is to send me a message via Voxer, because this will be our #1 collaboration tool. If people aren't happy to use Voxer and operate that way, then it's not going to work with me because I'm on site. I'm in a different time zone to what we are here. I'm in WA most of the year. We have to be able to communicate backwards and forwards. I don't do email. Email is the greatest waste of time that there is, and it's just a time suck, and too much gets lost on it. They have to be able to communicate via Voxer. So here's the first test. Have you read the book? Can you talk to me via Voxer? If we got through those first two steps, then we're well on the way to be able to create a collaboration. So even if you don't want to collaborate, get across and check that out. Head across to fifoexperiment.live. So what I've set up on that page there, how I've talked about the 4 different projects. I think you're going to go down to the bottom of the page and it says want to collaborate on the Fifo experiment. Then that'll flick you across to this page that you're looking at right here. I'll also, once I finish this live, I'll bang a link into it in the comments just below so you can head across and do that. All right, that is it for today. This video as well was a process. Okay, most people would sit and you can't see how many live videos most people have punched out this year. I've punched out literally hundreds of them. One, it's not live videos, but one particular series that I've got on LinkedIn is over 500 posts now, which is a post every day on the Mamba mentality. I have a process to get this live video out. So a thought popped into my head while I was watching a Who Not How video this morning from Dan Sullivan, and we're talking about collaborations. I'm going, most of the collaborations are falling over literally because people don't have that process to go through. So I go, oh, that's a headline. So I go, oh, that's a headline already. Why collaborations usually fail and what you need to do to fix it. So that was a headline. So then I've got a system. I've got a system right here, what I'm going to talk about. It's called Poser. I learned it off a guy called Kevin Rogers, the copy chief. Problem. What's the problem? Edwards Deming. If you can't explain what you're doing as a process, then you don't know what you're actually doing. What's the obstacle? Most people don't know how to create the process, how to go through it. So what's the solution? The solution is you have to have a process for collaboration. If you're just blindly throwing emails out and going on networking events and hoping to stumble across a collaboration, the odds of that happen are pretty slim. So what's an example? So I took you across to that page. Have a look at this example. This is how you set up so that you don't waste time going backwards and forwards. Imagine most people would spend hours, weeks, months trying to set meetings up, going backwards and forwards, trying to work out how they're going to collaborate. I don't have any of that. It's like, I'll collaborate. Yep, it's like, come read that, check that out. And if you get to the end of it, you think it's a good idea, shoot me a message via Voxer. So the R in Poser is reach. Want to collaborate? Like this video, head across to fifoexperiment.live. All right, take that, use it to make it a great week. Remember what General George S. Patton said. Actually, we'll go, he said, leave me, follow me, or get the hell out of my way. But we'll actually go back to a P.T. Barnum quote, which is, without promotion, something terrible happens. Nothing. Speak soon. You know how you can literally lose hours every day, backwards and forwards with phone tag on this thing, trying to set meetings up via email and messenger, or even worse still, getting stuck on this thing with someone that you just can't get off. In this quick video, I'm going to tell you about a killer app that's going to remove all of those issues and give you a ton of time back in your day. This has been the Troublemaker Coach, and the free app that I'm telling you about today is called Voxer. Voxer, and it leverages what's known as asynchronous communication. The quickest, easiest way that I can describe it to you, especially if you're of my vintage, is it turns your phone into a walkie-talkie. When you want to communicate with someone, you literally hold a button, talk, and that gets sent straight to them. So you can communicate with them whenever it's most convenient for you, and they communicate back when it's best for them. So phone tag and all the other messing around literally becomes a thing of the past. It's so extremely effective, I actually use it as the front end of my sales system. And I do that by a process called the triage call, where I ask them a series of 6 questions. Crossing asynchronous communication with the triage process has to be one of the most powerful things that I've ever been able to implement into my business. That's because by the time someone's gone through that process and they're ready to speak to me one-on-one, they're pretty much ready to buy. It all happens and takes up no more than 10 minutes of either of our times. If you want to see how it works, there'll be a link just below this video. Click on it, send me the first Vox, and just say, hey Beanie, I want to go through the triage process, and we'll speak soon.